Network Entertainment.
Hello everyone, welcome to another episode of Kaya Pa Ba? And today we hold space for Raco Ruiz, also known as actually Konyo SpongeBob. Hi Raco.
No, that's like a moniker I never expected to have in my life, but here we are.
Yes, so
Yeah.
si Raco is a content creator, director, and also commercial fashion model na rin, I think.
I mean, like, you never really can predict where your life will go if you're a
Yes.
content creator. But like, yeah, I'm kind of like starting to dabble in that.
Of course.
Scene.
But speaking of buhay, you are also someone who, had an advertising life before ka naging content creator or before you transformed into SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, Sponge Bro.
Sponge Bro.
Sponge Bro gag.
Oh, there you go. That's the voice. But yeah, can you share with us like how you started in advertising? Like how long were you there?
Advertising, well, if we're not gonna be super technical about the terminologies, no. I was like a little kindergarten kid who would get these storyboard templates from my dad because my dad worked in an advertising agency.
Oh.
And my mom was also in PR, so I'm like, it's in my blood to be in marketing. So yeah, ever since then I was like interested in like making ads. I would make ads with my dad's camcorder. Pero
You would make ads with your
yeah, ads for
wow.
stuff, like made up cereal brands, ganon. It's somewhere in the archives of my dad's cassette tapes. Pero if we're gonna be technical about like when I was hired in an advertising agency, I'd say that was in 2016.
Okay.
My first job was at an advertising agency as a graphic designer. And then slowly I worked my way up to like being a video director as well in production. But yeah, advertising is in my blood. Even now as a content creator, my bread and butter is from putting brands in my TikToks. So
Amen.
like
Yes.
there's no escaping it.
We are not ashamed of that. Please use us as your
Yes, please.
comedy billboards
Please.
for your brands.
We got bills to pay.
Yeah.
Come on.
now, speaking of comedy, you do a lot of comedy content. I think it's safe to assume that you do a lot of comedy content.
I guess by default, that is my go-to genre when it comes
Uh-huh.
to content. Even if like I'm like tasked to make a fashion TikTok, I'm like I have to make it funny because like it's the branding of the content creator, and like once people get attached to that branding, it's hard to like separate it. But no complaints. I'm having fun doing it
Yeah.
anyway.
So you call yourself like a professional fun
Professional fun haver,
fun haver.
or tomfoolery enjoyer.
Okay, so can you enlighten us kung ano itong fun haver at professional tomfooler?
Tomfoolery enjoyer.
Tomfoolery enjoyer.
As per my IG bio. If you guys are stalking my IG bio, like that's my bio. Actually, because I don't want to attach the word comedian to myself because of the pressure. Like the pressure to be funny.
Okay.
Like I really admire like people who are known as comedians, and like I don't know how they can handle that pressure. Because if you're always expected to be funny, for me, medyo nakaka-pressure yun, and I'm not gonna be funny. But like if I am not telling people I'm funny, I find it easier for me to like be myself, be my true self. Because once I have to tell myself this has to be the vibe of a comedian, wala, parang I get analysis paralysis.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. So I don't know how you do it, Baus. Like you're funny and labeled as a comedian.
Oh, well,
so, like,
thank you. But actually, now that you mentioned it, I really only got the confidence to parang tell people that I'm a comedian like, only pretty recently.
Yeah.
So I guess you kind of like build your way to kind of tricking yourself to say that, yes, I am a comedian, but I guess I am telling you that you are.
Oh, thank you.
But
Yeah.
what I find a bit intriguing is definitely when you do your sketches on TikTok, the writing definitely feels like its own character, its own presence. But since you started sa visuals and then you started and then eventually like you directed AVP's commercials, like how did you specifically develop this muscle for writing, which now I
Writing.
assume is how you start some of your sketches?
Yes, actually, like it all begins with the idea, of course. Like that's a given. Pero I think it's because of the lack of a team, especially during the pandemic. If you're a content creator, you're forced to be your own entire team, right? So I had to be my own writer.
Uh-huh.
And like, I'd love to collaborate with other people, pero nung pandemic, pahirapan yun mag-collaborate.
Like, kanino?
Yeah, exactly. The people in your own house, during COVID times, you couldn't even interact with them. So like, I was forced to be my own writer, my own editor, my own actor, my own director, my own producer. So like,
And you still are?
yeah, I still am.
Okay.
That hasn't changed just
Yeah.
because wala ng quarantine. Pero the writing part, I think it's just because I like talking to myself a lot. I know I'm sounding schizophrenic right now, but like I really enjoy like making up these made up conversations in my head, especially if like I have the seed of an idea. I will like talk to myself to make it funnier and funnier and funnier until I'm like, okay, this could be a skit. This could be a TikTok.
And
So yeah.
so I think definitely, well, thank you for setting me up for the next question.
Oh,
So I think you are definitely a figure in the Konyoverse of it
figure.
all. So in terms of the Konyo, which I think is a social commentary, but you have a specific take on it as opposed to making fun of other people's advantages. You look at it differently.
Well, I try not to be too mean about it. 'Cause,
Okay.
like, I'm not gonna drop any names, but there are a lot of TikToks out there that kind of make fun of Konyos, but like making them look bad.
Uh-huh.
Like making them look, let's say, kind of like the antagonist of the Philippines. Like,
Got
I mean, that's what
it.
teleseries do.
Correct.
Like, there's no denying it.
Correct.
Kontrabida Konyo. Most
It's
of
the
time.
baked-in classist influence we all have in our
Elitist.
culture. Okay.
So like, I'm not gonna wash my hands here. I have like a few characters who are like bad Konyos, but I try to make my like protagonists of my skits like likable Konyos.
Okay.
Because I know that majority of my audience, they're not even really Konyo. They just like find it amusing. So I'm like, okay, while their eyeballs are on me, I'm gonna try to make Konyos look good. I'm not saying I'm gonna make them look like heroes. It's not Konyo propaganda.
Historical revisionism. Okay.
I mean, yeah, given like Konyos kind of earned the hate they got, but I'm trying to show like most people that Konyos are not always bad guys. Sure, they might be very detached from the realities of like living in the Philippines for most people, but I try to make them look like relatable pa rin.
And I think that's what you do so well. It's like the detachment that is so kind of natural to Konyos. And
Yes.
I go to this like specific sketch na yung like sumakay ka ng Grab and then nag-tip ka ng like $20 ata or something, that particular sketch. You gave your
Yeah.
Grab driver like a tip. But it was very endearing because sobrang detached talaga niya and hindi niya tinatry i-alleviate yung problema ng poverty sa mundo or something.
This is one thing that like that's a recent skit. That's
Yeah.
like I just posted that. Like what I try to do with my hashtag Konyoverse. I'm not sure if other people use that hashtag, but if you tap the hashtag, it's mostly my videos. Kasi I don't know. I guess no one else uses it. So like I'm unofficially trademarking that as mine. So I tried to make each character in my Konyoverse a different representation of each arm of the Konyoverse. And that skit you mentioned, that was like Phil Amboy na Konyo.
Uh-huh.
So like he would say, yeah, I tipped my driver like $20. I hope that's okay na, diba? And that's like, it's endearing because they're so detached about how big a tip should be. I mean, most people don't even tip their Grab drivers. But if you're a Phil Am who knows nothing about, you know, the way of life in the Philippines, like $20 is fine. Here you go. That should keep you happy, right?
Got it. Okay, so I guess what I want to know is, where do you draw yung inspiration for Konyos? Meron ka ba talagang kilalang Konyo that you feel, you know, sobrang marami silang redeeming qualities, that's why you want to make them more relatable? Or do you know Konyos who are so unlikable that you know the knee-jerk reaction is to write something totally opposite that person you know?
Yes. Well, actually, funny you should mention like both sides of the spectrum of the Konyoverse because like my inspiration comes from two places. Either I am so fond of someone who is Konyo that this person is so likable, even if they're like kind of a himbo. But I want to show the world like, oh, these types of Konyos are likable. On the other side of the spectrum, there's so many a-holes na Konyo. So I tried to like make the most of, I guess, it was a forced thing that I had to act like different people kasi wala ngang other
because
actors.
he's not mean in real life.
Yeah. So like I had to make different characters do different things kasi I didn't want to have one Konyo character na he's good but in the next skit he's bad.
Uh-huh.
So I was kind of like forced into making different characters with different outfits, different accents, just to really portray different traits of these conyos. So the the douchebag conyo, which is like I use him most of the time in toxic Bumble date skits.
Correct. That's an ongoing series, like
yeah.
Toxic Bumble
Toxic
Day.
Bumble Day.
Mabenta siya, no? In fairness,
You know what? Girls, they're all girls in the comments saying this is so true.
Oh my God.
So like I get that because like most of my friends are girls kasi well I grew up in a house full of women, so I'm like more like comfortable I guess by default. And a lot of them would rant to me about their dating horror stories and like Raco, you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. I'm like, hey, I could use this for a skit. I'm like, what's the worst thing you can do on a date? And I'll exaggerate it a bit more to make a skit out of it. So like that's where I get the douchebag kind of conyo archetype from. But the positive one is like most of my classmates in Ateneo and LaSalle, like granted there are some a-holes from both of those schools, but like I was lucky enough to be like close to the more likable ones.
Got it.
Like even if they're like gym bros, they're like people who are so fascinated with science when it comes to let's say
Gym bros fascinated with science.
with-
That's a gym bro.
yeah with diet, pero pagdating sa biology class flunk naman. So I'm
Got
like
it.
that's the kind of person like I want to make look good with my skits. Like even if they're aloof or like detached from society, tone deaf even, they're still likable.
Uh-huh.
They're still charming.
Got it.
Yeah.
So, what I heard from that is basically yung relationship mo rin with inspiration is, you know, you just try to live like a normal human being.
Yes.
And then when inspiration hits you, you're like, okay, I'm gonna use this for something.
Yeah.
Do you find yourself kind of like sometimes asking permission from your friends? Sa parang, hey, I really like this line you used. Can I use it for a sketch?
More of like I declare it.
Okay.
I don't even ask. Well, okay. Pagdating sa dating horror stories, I ask permission naman. Kasi parang,
Of course.
baka that might be too intimate, too private to share. But most of the time, the girls are like, yes, please make it a skit. Tag ko pa nga yung Bumble date ko eh.
Wow, grabe.
But
Okay.
like, most of the time, I just declare it because like I get inspired by some situations that I'm involved in. Sometimes I am the stupid conyo in the skits. I just exaggerate the kind of memeable conversations I have with my friends. So I get inspired by my friends, by my enemies. Hindi ko naman enemy. Or myself. Like inspiration is all over the place, really.
Hey, it's Nikki Porter, and I'd like to invite you to catch the episodes of Nuggets of Nikki, a podcast where I share bite-sized insights as a relationship coach. Because, in case you haven't noticed, healthy relationships these days seem very hard to come by. Everyone seems to be dealing with their own ish, right? They don't want to commit when they deep down want a relationship. They want to connect with their partner, but they ignore them instead. They know that something's bothering them, but they don't tell their partner, so they resent them over time. You know, the usual stuff. Through each episode, we'll work through all the different variables at play that might be keeping you from becoming an empathic partner by first figuring out how you can be a worthy partner for yourself. If this sounds like your type of podcast, be sure to give Nuggets of Nikki a follow. Then let's get to it.
So, of course, in working with inspiration, you talk a lot about the cringe of it all.
Cringe.
Yeah. And you do a lot of content about, you know, feeling cringy about something. And I think it's actually such a great term to kind of precisely capture what creatives go through before they put out something. Can you just take us through when mo na-realize na, okay, this cringe thing is part of the process that eventually will get easier as the work happens?
Yeah, well, because like I've been making videos since I was a kid. Like, ako yung sobrang nakakayang friend na I will be OA as F on like YouTube, even if I'm an introvert in real life, kasi it was my outlet. And like, I was raised by Eddie Murphy and Jim Carrey movies, like Nutty Professor.
Official
and, like,
konyo, guys.
Yeah,
Jim
so-
Carrey and Eddie Murphy.
Mike Myers, and they're always playing different characters, right? So I was raised by that mindset na you can transform, even if like you'd see these guys in interviews, like Eddie Murphy, Mike Myers, they're so serious pero and introverted, pero sa roles nila sobrang gago. So I was raised by kind of like that mentality na if it's on video, it's fine to be cringe. Kasi you're acting in a role. So that was kind of the mindset I had to get over. Like, it's okay to post this. It's not the real me. And that's fine. Like, so if you're a content creator, you're thinking like, should I post this? It's so cringe naman. It's like, that doesn't have to represent the real you.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And I have a similar story in the sense na kung ang influence mo ay si Eddie Murphy at si Jim Carrey, like ako growing up na bading, like my influence was like si Rufa May Quinto.
Yes, I'm
and
familiar.
recently I've been wanting to do like an impression or like a Rufa May Quinto inspired sketch, but the thought of like, oh, it's just another gay guy trying to do a Rufa May voice kept me from like doing one. And then I finally did one when she trended like a few weeks ago, and it was pretty successful. Parang, my God, I should have done it sooner. And I rode that momentum by kung ano yung nilagay kong joke in the sketch, I moved it to like my stand-up bit, which is also kind of doing well. And I guess it's tipong, after I got over the cringe of parang, oh my God, this impression is gonna be a flop, doon ko lang na-realize, oh my God, it works and like I can do so much more with this.
Yeah.
Diba?
And I think the nice thing about TikTok is it's okay to flop.
Yes.
Like, oh my God, I'm kind of in my flop era right now, but it kind of gives you like more freedom. Like, just keep posting because on TikTok, no one's gonna see the flops.
Yes.
Because it's an FYP like
Correct.
system. So they're only gonna see it when you make a hit. So little do they know you have like so many flops, but like they're gonna see the hit.
Yes.
So just keep throwing stuff on the wall until something sticks.
Yeah. And I think the beauty with, I think because now I've been doing content for 3 years. You've been doing it for how long?
Like
professionally.
around the same time.
Around
too.
the same
Like,
time.
since pandemic.
Yeah, because
like,
I have both. I have both Instagram and TikTok. Sometimes, like I post the same video on both platforms, and you will realize na parang if kunyari, usually it does better on Instagram versus TikTok. Then that's when you realize I shouldn't actually take it personally because a big part of how a piece of content succeeds is really like the machine behind distributing the damn thing.
It's not even a human choosing this stuff. Like, I get your frustration because I see your stories also, Baus. Like your rants about the disparity in the views. Like, I super relate. Like something on Instagram where I have a smaller following could go viral, like let's say hundreds of thousands. Meanwhile, sa TikTok, di pa umabot ng
like,
10,000.
Like 4,000, 5,000. And the same video would like reach 1 million on Instagram. So people like, okay, glad to know I'm not as floppy of a flop I think I am. So, ayun.
And like this common piece of advice I get from so many content creators who've like really made it big is like, just upload it everywhere. Because it might be like a flop on TikTok, but it might succeed on Facebook or IG. Just keep trying everything.
Yes. So, yun nga. So, you keep trying, you keep making. But I kind of want to widen the lens here because apart from you being known for your comedic sketches, the conyos of it all, you are also a visual artist.
Oh, that I am. Yes.
Like, you're basically like a Renaissance man or a Renaissance conyo.
A Renaissance conyo.
A Renaissance conyo.
I like that.
So, I guess, what is your personal relationship with your creativity, given you do a number of creative expressions?
Like, I coined the term, di naman coined the term, pero like, I like using the term multi-purpose artist.
Multi-purpose
artist.
Correct.
Because it's not that serious sounding. Because like, multidisciplinary artist sounds like, kaka-pressure naman yun. Ayaw naman maging ganun.
Na parang may PhD ka sa philosophy or
like,
something.
I am so not that. I'm just like, friendly neighborhood artist. So, as a multi-purpose artist, I just try to have some of the flavor of whatever I make be the same throughout everything.
Got it.
So, let's say my art is not as slapstick naman as my skits, but it still has that fun vibe to it with like the hidden social commentary.
Yeah.
And I think like that's the combo I have throughout everything I make is like, it's fun, but there's a little something hidden in there to learn something from.
God, undercover.
Yeah.
Undercover
medicine.
Social commentary or something.
It's medicine in the sugar.
Yeah. So I recently had on the show si Pura Luca Vega. I'm sure you know the drag queen si Pura Luca Vega. Ang term niya naman for it is transdisciplinary living. So kumbaga kung dati like interdisciplinary, ito is, I guess, you take what you can or what you need for the day, whether that's in the logical side of your brain or your creative or your social. And I guess I want to talk about this more because kaming mga millennials, I'm not sure if you're a millennial.
I'm like the tail end of millennial.
Okay, so
I'm
so
a fake
we
Gen
will
Z.
claim you. Wag ka na sa Gen Z. Okay. Na parang, I think up until like 7-8 years ago, us multi-hyphenates, transdisciplinary people thought na parang hindi tayo mapirmi sa isang lugar. Ang dami nating gustong gawin. And like, why can't we focus on on one lane. And now the conversation in the culture has become like, oh, you need to have these many expressions.
Yes.
How good is it to feel na medyo nakahabol yung times with like how you are wired as a human being?
Oh my God. That is like music to my ears to hear na it's accepted now. Like, I remember being a kid and like being called scatterbrained or magulo kasi I couldn't choose one thing to do. And now it's the norm, bro.
I know.
You know what? Like, ADHD brain. So like, also another thing is like, I remember when it comes to types ng mga girls sa boys, back then, yung mga type ng like older girls.
Here comes the annoying Konyo go.
Yeah, I'm like, I realized na yung mga type ng mga before in general of women were like kind of like the typical Hollywood male na, let's say, Henry Cavill, Ryan Gosling types.
Okay.
And I'm so glad now na humabol yung trend na Timothée Chalamet, Tom Holland are like in season.
Got it.
So I'm like,
in season. They are in season.
the same thing goes with like being a multidisciplinary artist. I'm like, I've been this my whole life, and like, thank God it's finally accepted.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I say that it feels really good that people are more open to the idea of having people like us.
People
Mutants.
You people.
To people like us, only because I think back then when we were trying to figure out what worked for us and things that kind of fed our curiosity, we always meant well.
Yes.
You know?
It was never a bad thing.
It was never bad because like on the receiving end of that comment na parang, my God, can't you just like relax and calm down? Like,
yeah.
I'm not doing anything bad,
Yeah.
or I'm not destroying people's lives. I'm just trying to satisfy the soul.
Yeah, I just love doing all these things.
Yeah.
I can't choose
Yeah,
one.
yeah.
And it's not like you're cheating on the other craft.
Correct.
Diba?
Correct.
It's like you're kind of like I would say making them all grow.
Yes.
At the same time.
Yes. The way I also parang look at it is tipong, I have so much love to give to the world na
Yes.
parang I kind of want to honor every bit of that love that I kind of want to express. The same way na, you know, I love doing the parang business side of like producing shows, but also I like writing a show. Na parang you would think na dati, oh hindi, the business part is kind of like only for a few people and then iba yung gagawa ng actual idea generation and creation. And now it's like the creativity and the commerce when they intersect is like kind of really what scratches the itch for me. Yeah.
But also, like, I will say this, it helps so much to have someone to talk to about the ideas.
That is true.
Like, sometimes I'm like stuck in my own head that I realize the answer to a skit being funny is so simple. I just need someone else to suggest it.
Yes.
Like, it's already there. Someone else needs to point it out to me lang. Because like sometimes you really need the point of view of someone else for that friction.
Yes.
To make it work.
Yes, which is, you know, a thing that we do sa stand-up. It's called bounce. Magbabounce ng joke, magbabounce. And then, you would be surprised na sometimes, kunyari sa stand-up comedy, like before a show, minsan ang bit-bit ko premise pa lang.
Okay.
And then, magko-comment yung mga fellow comedians ko sa premise. And then, okay, I think I know the punchline that will work for this. So, limi parang, I don't come into like an open mic, sometimes like an airtight set already. Like, I leave pockets for other forms of creativity to kind of help the joke evolve. I'm sure you experience something like that in creative collaborations and when you direct stuff.
Yeah, it's so much easier to collaborate because like even with anything I'd make, I always need a comment from someone else to make it better. Like other people, like I would say on the egotistical side of, you know, the spectrum of artists, they hate criticism. They're like, don't tell me what to do. But I'm like, I kind of need it. I always want to hear like the point of view of other people just so I know that I can make something better than what I was making by myself. Kung pwede. But sometimes you're forced to make stuff on your own.
Correct.
So
it's nice to have people to rely on, but at the end of the day, hindi laging available yun.
Yes,
So
everyone's
sometimes,
busy. That's
like
the hard part. Everyone's busy.
You gotta make it work.
Yeah.
Okay, so we'll take a quick break muna and then more with Raco Ruiz. I just want to call him Konyo SpongeBob sa totoo lang.
Konyo SpongeBob.
I'm trying my best not to keep calling him Konyo SpongeBob.
SpongeBob works too.
And And we are back with Raco Ruiz over here, content creator, director, fashion model, SpongeBob, lobbyist, lahat na po.
Lobbyist.
Lobbyist. So, you do many things. We've established that.
Mm-hmm.
Where do you see yourself like 3 to 5 years from now in terms of like, where do you plan to take this?
Oh my God, it's so hard to tell. Like every time I thought I knew where my life was heading, I was wrong.
Okay.
So I would say it helps to have many interests. That way,
Yes.
you have many options. Like especially with the advent of AI now, you're not sure which job will be obsolete.
Oh my God.
So what if like suddenly content creation is totally doable by AI alone? I'm screwed.
Yeah,
So,
oh my
like,
God. And
Yeah.
medyo, I'm kind of preparing for the possibility na mangyayari yun because yesterday, nasa isang meeting ako,
Yeah.
merong pinresent sa akin na jingle for a brand
Mhm.
na AI agad. As in, hindi siya
Completely
kinombre.
AI.
Like, AI na siya agad.
Yeah.
Binigay lang siguro nila yung lyrics and like music prompt and then which like, before sa advertising, it would take us like a week to do like a rough cut of a song.
Yes,
And then,
max.
girl, wala
Yeah.
lang. So I'm just telling you lang na, you know, baka hindi masyado magtagal
It's
yung
very
trabaho
possible.
natin soon.
No, actually, I'm testing it myself. Like,
Okay.
I asked ChatGPT without giving it much background information. I just said, "Hey, can you make me a script for TikTok made by Raco Ruiz?" It was pretty accurate. It was like about these conyos complaining about lamok bites.
Wow.
I didn't even give it like a prompt. It just made one. I was like,
And it gave you lamok bites?
it said lamok bites.
Oh my God.
So I was like, I didn't tell it how to speak Konyo, but it knew. And also like the skit was pretty decent. Like I would refine it a bit just to like make it punchier.
Correct. I think yun
But
naman yung
the
role
back-
ng
the back-
AI.
The backbone's there of the skit. Like sometimes nga I'm like, I have a seed of an idea na for a skit. And then I run it by ChatGPT saying like, what can I say about this idea? And then ChatGPT will give me suggestions. And I say like, okay, that's not that funny. But if I do this, it will be funny. So it's like,
Did you tell ChatGPT na hindi siya ganun ka-funny?
no, I don't want to give it
Okay.
feedback because
Okay.
it's gonna improve by itself. So I'm
Okay.
like, I'll let it think it's funny now. I'll be like,
Just to slow down its progress
yeah.
a bit.
I'll be like,
okay.
that was great. That was perfect. But I'm gonna change it up a bit for my own skit. So I don't want to give it like confidence.
Yeah.
Knowing that like I am giving it confidence, but false confidence.
Got it.
Because if you like keep teaching it to improve, you will be out of a job in a few months,
Yeah,
guys.
yeah. But yeah, ganun rin, I guess, pag eventually freelancer ka na parang a big part of it is actually you don't know how your life's gonna be like in 4, 5, 6
Exactly.
months time.
I'd say the key is to be adaptable.
Amen.
Like, I don't know what's gonna happen, but I hope I can adapt.
Uh-huh.
That's it.
And speaking of that, what have been the synergies or have you had projects wherein nagkaroon ng synergy yung you as the personality, as the sketch content creator you are with you the visual artist?
Mhm.
What kind of projects yung nag-intersect lahat yun?
Nag-intersect lahat. Not much because I try to make the distinction. I try to draw the line pa rin between the crafts kasi I don't want my art to become slapstick or like let's say I would say what's the term, like kind of popcorn
Got it.
blockbuster
Got
vibes,
Got
mainstream cinema vibes for my art. I want it to be like, okay, my art is the avenue I have to have freedom to do whatever I want.
Got
Versus with my skits, I want to be funny for people.
Got
So
it.
gusto ko yung freedom ko with art is like I don't have to impress anyone. Versus so obviously for skits, I'm like, this has to gain traction to get viral.
Yeah.
Right.
That's a great way to put it. Parang there is space for you just indulging the artist in you.
Yeah.
And merong isa na tipong for the person who wants the applause because we all want it. Come on, guys.
Yeah.
I mean, we
And
know
like it
that.
pays the bills.
It pays
That's
the bills.
why.
Correct.
That's my mentality for content creation is like I'm kind of paid for the unpaid ones because that's what's gonna show brands na kaya mo mag-viral.
Got it.
So in a way, it's still paid even if it's just for fun.
Got it.
Because like you divide your paid TikToks amongst everything you've made, and it's like for each TikTok you're getting paid.
Uh-huh.
You know, even
Got
if
it.
TikTok's not monetized here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about this. Yung art just for yourself.
Okay.
Okay. So, according to some research that we've done, so, you had an autoimmune disease when you were young, and then art was very much like
Ah.
kind of your salvation. I don't want to say a lifeline, but that might be an exaggeration. But tell us more about this because we always hear this story, but I want to hear it using your Sponge Bro voice. I'm kidding. Like I want to hear it from you.
Ay, gagi, pare. Ganito kasi yun, Chong. No, actually, it's like, it became my outlet. I'd say like, because, as a kid, I didn't know what to do with like an autoimmune sickness. I still have it though, but like it's maintainable naman now. But like, it became my outlet because like, I didn't want to have a destructive outlet
Got it.
that's going to hurt myself. Or other people. So I would just like take it out on my drawings. Like if you'll notice a common theme in my artwork, even way back since I was a child, was like cute drawings with violent themes.
Yes, I was gonna say that.
It's always like the combination of like sugarcoating something that's so grotesque, so dark, but it's cute. So the balance to me was always entertaining. So I like making that thing happen in my art.
And I guess, because you kept doing it, eventually it is now one of your professions.
Yeah, actually, like, I originally quit my full-time job to just be a full-time artist.
Oh.
Pero savior ko yung TikTok kasi that's what kept paying the bills for me.
Uh-huh.
So while I was doing that, I could still like pursue my art pa rin as a career without the pressure of like, this has to sell.
Correct.
Because like as a non-nepo baby, I still have the pressure of like, okay, I have to pay my own bills, I have to buy my own food. So like at least I have the content creation side of my work to keep myself afloat while still having the freedom of creating without the pressure to earn.
Got it.
Yeah.
That's great because I don't think you should ever burden like one form of creative expression to kind of pay for everything.
Yes.
I think that's very, very unfair to a thing that you love so much.
Although if you have the opportunity to do that, it's great.
Correct.
Like for example, you love acting, you have a burning passion for acting, and you're paid millions.
And gawin
Lucky
mo.
you. Yeah.
Go be an Avenger, I guess, diba?
I'd love to have one thing to do that like covers everything. Pero at the time we're at now, I'm like, I kind of need several things pa rin.
Correct.
Yeah.
But this, when you do your art, the non-TikTok stuff, are you always kind of thinking about what you're going to do next there with while you're doing TikTok, or is it kind of a seasonal thing that you carve out like a time in the year wherein that's just what you're going to do?
Oh, I can't do that. I have to be like fully adaptable to what's needed.
Okay.
But like I will schedule like exhibitions just to give myself a deadline.
Got
Kasi
it.
kung wala kang deadline, never mo gagawin. Like I'll never complete it. I have like maybe 100 drafts that I haven't finished.
Wow,
With
really?
art. As in like sketch pa lang, tapos titigilan ko na. Kasi something else distracts me. Like, okay, today I want to make a TikTok. Di ko tatapusin yung art. Tapos, I have a TikTok draft na half shot pa lang, but I'll get distracted with art. So it's kind of like, I guess, having several children. And
A lot of children.
let's say 4 to 5 children.
Okay.
Very Gen X. And not really having a favorite. It's like you want to give them all attention.
Got it.
And sometimes the other one needs your attention. So neglect yung isa.
Correct.
So like, that's where I'm at right now.
Yeah, but do you also find yourself na kunyari may iniwan ka na draft of a sketch na medyo na ma-realize mo, medyo serendipitous pa lang, hindi ko muna siya tinapos because I had to be informed by XYZ happenings in my life and now I know I have earned the right to finish it.
Yes, actually so much. Or like I learned how to do a specific skill that will make this idea better.
Oh.
And also like the same goes with TikToks. Like sometimes I'd have a TikTok that flops and I feel bad about it. I'm like, it's fine. At least like it didn't go viral. And then this brand needs this idea that's adjacent to that.
Amen.
I'll archive that TikTok and be
Yes.
like, use it for that brand
Yeah.
and it'll do well.
Correct.
Yeah.
On the flip side, I have experienced a brand deal wherein nireject nila yung idea ko for a post. So I did it unbranded.
Yes.
It did well. Na tipong
Oh
like,
my
see, ba't hindi nyo binili yun? Sabi sa inyo, may point eh. I mean,
Yeah.
parang it's nice lang na kind of like ganun yung nagiging life cycle ng creativity.
Yes.
Diba? Parang just because you do it for a branded thing doesn't mean it's as less inspired as your other works, diba?
Actually, so many of my rejected branded content, I just save it.
Uh-huh.
I never like crumple the idea, throw it in a trash bin. I'm like, I'll use you later on. Like, it wasn't your time to be born yet.
Oh,
Yeah.
tama. It wasn't your time to be born
Yeah.
yet. Okay, so a lot of our listeners here are basically people who are nasa corporate, trying to maybe diversify what they are doing now. Like, what's a piece of advice you can share with them to just make them or have them be gentler to themselves?
I'd say always make time for your passion projects.
Okay.
Like even if you're let's say OT ka na sa work, I'm sure you have like 5 minutes in a day to like sketch something out in a notebook or like do a quick cover by yourself with your guitar. But like never neglect your like passion projects. Kasi mawawalan ka ng gana not to make
Yeah.
anything. You need to fuel the creativity.
And I love how specific you are. Kahit 5 minutes lang.
5 minutes lang. Kasi kung may 5 minutes ka mag-scroll sa Instagram, may 5 minutes kang para, to work on your passion project.
One more time for the people. Pakisabi yun ulit.
Kung may 5 minutes ka mag-doom scroll sa TikTok or Instagram, you also have 5 minutes to work on your passion project. So like,
Correct.
choose your battles.
Correct. And I guess with consistency, yung 5 minutes na yun, eventually mabibitin ka. So you're gonna want to spend more time with it. And then eventually what is a passion project will be a hobby. And then that hobby will be paying for your trips, diba?
Exactly.
So,
And there's so many things you do in a day that you realize, wait, this doesn't really help me so much.
correct.
Like for example, like doom scrolling is great with intention. Like me, I doom scroll, but with the intention of I have to be inspired by this to make content. Kasi if you do it too much and wala namang output, I'm like, you're just kind of rotting there.
Yeah.
So like, I'd say recreational activities are fun. I don't know if this is a toxic way of thinking. So let me know in the comments. But like, I always think like there has to be something that comes out of this. Like even if it's fun, like the thing out of that is I was recharged. So there has to be like a good output out of this. Yeah.
So you deserve to feel good.
You deserve to feel good.
Yeah.
You deserve to nourish like the things you're passionate about.
And that is it. Our very, very, medyo sorry, mabilis kami magsalita. Ganito talaga ang mga conversations namin. But thank you so much, Raco, for joining me here sa Kaya Pa Ba. Where can the children find you?
The pleasure's all mine. The children can find me on like Instagram, TikTok, Facebook. Just search Raco Ruiz or at Raco Bell. Most of that is like the same name everywhere. So
okay, and that is it for our episode of Kaya Pa Ba. Don't forget to rate and review us sa Apple Podcast and Spotify. Follow us as well sa Instagram, that is Kaya Pa Ba Pod. And I will see you on the next episode. Bye! Bye!
The opinions of podcast creators, hosts, and guests are not necessarily reflective of the official stance of the Pod Network Entertainment, its hosts, or other network programs. The content created by the people behind the podcast is personal and not meant to harm any religion, ethnicity, group, organization, company, or individual.